I've been with the RCMP for nearly 10 years now. It'll be 10 years in December. And I currently work in the tactical training unit, so I deliver a wide variety of training to many different officers, hundreds of officers. I was having some problems with vision, only in my right eye though. It was blurry in the center field of vision, and that over time it slowly expanded, and over time I actually couldn't see out of it at all. Everything was just a blur. It was eventually determined that I had what's called an optic nerve glioma. So it's a tumor that forms in the optic nerve. Anytime you hear the word tumor, anytime you hear the word cancer, it's quite frightening, especially with the wide spectrum that can encompass those types of things. And so I hadn't panicked too much quite yet, but I was quite worried about the potential of the diagnosis. And that's when I'd met Dr. Ezekiel Weiss.
So Michael first came under my care with a rapidly growing tumor on the optic nerve. And we were all very concerned about a highly malignant lesion that can rarely occur in the optic nerve. And then we proceeded with the treatment for that, with the first step being biopsy.
On a routine follow-up, it was observed on an MRI that the tumor itself had actually grown substantially. And at that point, I was told I had cancer and that I was going to have to undergo radiation and then another surgical procedure as well. And then once I had recovered from that, I then underwent daily radiation for a month and a half. I had gone to Ontario to visit my family. I was still off work at the time, or rather I had taken some time off. And I was experiencing really bad headaches. They were not even headaches, they were migraines essentially. They were hours long, they wouldn't go away. It hurt to sleep just from the sheer radiation. I'd have to sleep on one side. And it's normal to have pain after these things, but typically that pain will peak and then will drop off. Well, this didn't drop off, it just kept going. The radiation pain eventually went away, but the headaches got worse. Out of an overabundance of caution, I then went to get checked out to see if there was anything wrong. At which point, that led to me being booked into one of their major trauma centers because they had discovered that the tumor had actually grown exponentially. I started to decide medically what were we going to do. And so that decision ended up being to take the whole tumor out, take all of it out, and then we'll go from there. And so knowing that I would full well lose all vision in my right eye, I was more than willing to give that up to get rid of the tumor. Unbeknownst to me at the time, Dr. Weiss was actually calling them daily for updates and had purulated all my medical files over there simply in the event that I was going to get my surgery there, as that still wasn't decided whether I would get it there or return to Alberta. Further to that, he was actually researching their doctors to make sure that whoever did this procedure was on top of their game and that I was getting the best care possible. Ultimately, I decided to return to Alberta because a number of circumstances, and quite frankly, Dr. Weiss being one of those. And yeah, now I'm cancer-free.
My job was first to encourage him and say, you have a normal life following this as long as we get this under control, and tell him that he may require special exceptions and special status to achieve, the work-related goals that he has.
Dr. Weiss has always been very supportive of me returning to work. He's even gone as far as writing letters of recommendation. He's taken the time to contact my employers whenever that need arose, to speak to them and essentially to advocate for me, as well as to present them with information that they may not have otherwise had.
I think all of us eye surgeons regularly have to advocate for our patients in their jobs, insurance companies, whatever it be, to make sure that the disease that they saw us for doesn't impact them more than just the health, but in terms of quality of life and financial situations and career goals and so forth. Athletes is another example, and so that's a not uncommon situation. What's very unique about this is that the RCMP had never gone through these steps before, because there was never an individual who was so motivated and so willing to knock down barriers. So it had never been done before. You'll get this within the first 5 minutes of meeting him. He's an incredibly energetic, very hardworking, very capable human being. And his story and what he's accomplished, you'll see, is very inspiring. So as an individual, not only am I confident he's good at what he does, but he's a very inspiring human being.
I believe it's very important for donors to support the Eye Institute of Alberta, simply by virtue of the work that they do for people. What they did for me